I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit about environmental upgrades and cognitive load. I'll explain what I mean by that momentarily, but first I'll give you a little update. Um, on my morning and my weekend, I've actually been up since 5:30, which is funny because as I told you in a previous live, like I go through kind of like different seasons in terms of my sleep patterns, and um, I sleep in a lot in the winter, and then right around this time in the spring, usually, I'll start just like randomly waking up at like 5:30. Not every day, but it's just so interesting. And I like it when it happens because I don't know, it feels like borrowed time a little bit. I go downstairs and like turn on the cozy little like ambiance on YouTube on the TV and light a candle and you know, no one's reaching out to me. I'm not talking to anyone. I have like a few hours to myself. Um, just re-upped on my merit stick. Anyway, so that's what happened this morning. And then I was watching YouTube, and then eventually I was like reading my tarot card. Eventually I kind of fell asleep again on the couch. And we just got a new couch, which has been like a huge upgrade in my lifestyle as of a few days. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about this morning. Also, because I'm going to go get some picture frames later today for some pictures I'm setting up. I think my cousin's going to help me hang up some art that I've been meaning to hang up for a bit. And it's interesting because I am just like really interested in domesticity these days. I'm really interested in like improving and upgrading and kind of like streamlining my home. And what I mean by that is just like, really designing and refining an environment that I can thrive in that has the things that I need. So, for example, I just made like a little reading nook. Um, this weekend, I moved my dad's chair from my office studio to this like sunshine nook we have. And I've spoken about this with clients in the realm of like fashion and style, and how that we can really use um, clothing to instill and encourage certain behaviors or habits that we're wanting to develop. And the same is so true of environment. Like, I want to read more. Then I find myself, having to look for the good lighting. I'm going to like get a lamp for like a clip-on lamp for my bed. We just put the old couch in the dressing room / guest room. So now I have like various places to read. And that is a behavior I am encouraging in myself, a habit I am nurturing, of reading more often than scrolling or whatever, watching TikTok. Which, time and a place, but I've been recently learning about kind of the neurochemical impacts in terms of our attention span and all of those things. And I've always had pretty good boundaries around it. I'll like set a timer. I think of it as like units of time that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch 2 units of TikTok. And maybe that's like, usually a unit's like 8 minutes. I just set a timer so I know how long it's been. But yeah, I'm just really realizing and experiencing how much like it really helps us reach our goals or solidify certain habits or behaviors if we just make it easy in our environment. If you've ever read Atomic Habits, that's something he talks about, is like you've got to make it easy. So I've been taking a lot of joy lately and just like putting the forethought into, for example, another thing is that Ben likes cold water. He likes to drink cold water that's been in the fridge, and I don't, in part because I know warmer room temperature water is better for your digestion, but also I just like drinking room temperature water. So we were kind of, he'd take the Brita out of the fridge, or he'd put it in the fridge. I'd take it out, leave it on the counter. He'd put it in. And I just bought a second Brita. So we both have our own Brita filter. There's always water ready. And mine's room temperature and his is in the fridge. It's like that, honestly, the cognitive load that clears up, and just the flow and how that supports certain habits that I am nurturing and encouraging in myself, like drinking a full, huge glass of water first thing in the morning, then like having tea more often than coffee, all of the things. Like, I'm not in the mood to like make a bunch more batches of water right when I wake up, whatever. Like, I usually just would end up drinking a coffee or whatever. So it's just amazing how these small things we can do. And sometimes, like, these environmental setups, sometimes it is an object or like a thing that can really help, but oftentimes just like the little bit of forethought of like, how can I clear up the cognitive load around this and just like make this easy for myself and like put some forethought into what my system is here. I'm just really into those things these days. I'm just like really into my physical world and environment and my home. It's so funny because in my 20s, I like didn't like have the bandwidth to focus on that very much at all. I mean, I did some, but like I had a lot more clutter. I just didn't have as like quite as thoughtful relationships with my immediate material world and like my items and kind of how I arranged my environment. Like I said, I gave some thought to it, but I'm a lot more intentional about it now. And I think I just, was kind of focused on other things. I was really focused on like inner work and personal development, like developing exercise habits, working on my business. I wasn't that focused on like creating a really amazing environment. I had a great environment, but it was like, it was more cluttered. It wasn't something I had invested a ton of intention into. I also like had a bunch of shit from that, I had like whatever cups I had in college or whatever, like just whatever was around. And I actually feel like in that time of kind of focusing on these other realms, especially my inner world, then, developed the tools and awareness to, be more self-aware, process my feelings, like be tuned into my inner world, such that, I mean, obviously that's still a continuing journey and something I continue to improve on, but like having those tools and having dedicated so much time to like research and work in that realm has actually like cleared up a lot of cognitive load and space in my life to now allow me to focus on my environment such that I can clear even more space, more cognitive load to, continue to focus on other things. And I'm reaching a point, I'm not like fully in this point yet, but like I can feel myself approaching a point where there's like so much space, and also like the way that I've restructured my business model that gives me a lot of freedom and time, freedom of my time, which has always been a huge priority for me. I'm noticing that it's like there's so much that I have been automating in my life, literally on the technical end, but also like also literally, but not technically, just in terms of like automating behaviors, which is what you're doing when you're developing habits. Um, such that I'm finding myself sometimes sitting and being like, what should I do? Like, I already worked out, my space is clean, like, I did what I needed to do in my business today, like, I talked to a friend, I went, like, I'm approaching this tipping point that I think is going to be really, really good, and I'm already feeling is going to be good, or already feeling is good for my creativity. That like open space of like almost like a little bit of boredom. Although I'm not bored, it's but like that space, that gap where you can be like, how am I going to entertain myself right now? Like, what am I going to do? And I have so many little projects, especially like domestic house. I have all these little like sustainability projects and systems that I have too that I'll tell you more about at a different point. But I am wanting to paint more. I haven't really like had a painting practice in a long time. I painted, but like not very consistently. And I am feeling that like, oh, in this space where I'm kind of like sitting here being like, what do I want to do with myself right now? It's like, oh, I'm gonna practice like DJing. I'm gonna like sit around and sing and play my guitar. I'm going to paint something or like work on altering and sewing some clothes or whatever it is. It's like I feel how good this like taking the time to set up systems and like behavioral automations is going to be and already is for my creative spirit. So anyway, that's cool. It's cool to witness because I've been, it's been a number of years that I have been refining my life and my lifestyle to be able to like have the freedom for my creative spirit to thrive. So I feel really excited and like proud of myself about that, and also like very much looking forward to finding out what I'm gonna be doing with myself in this space, or like what I'm gonna be creating in this space. And I just think it's so interesting too that like it is the human impulse to create, and we do that best in a space in a space of space where we're not, we've transcended being in a reaction to our environment, right? I feel like that's even as we're talking about environmentally, like that's a big way, sneaky way that sometimes we like procrastinate or self-sabotage, is like having too much stuff, and then it just takes a lot of time to organize and clean. But like I also heard that the biggest source of anxiety for women in particular is actually having too much stuff, because it increases the cognitive load and it just creates a lot of busy work. So that really landed for me, and I was like, whoa, confirmation, nice. Hi, humans. So anyway, that's the topic for today. A couple questions, or like let's give a little journal prompt, is like, where in your physical environment can you rearrange things, get something specific, or otherwise set yourself up to encourage behaviors and habits that you're wanting to cultivate and to strengthen? where can you clear some clutter and like actually create some space for new things to come into your life? And where is your cognitive load fatigued unnecessarily? And how can you lighten that load so you have more space for your creative spirit to thrive? Just some questions to consider. All right, and on that note, I am gonna go get some work done. I've been wanting to try streaming on here. I think like this is a live. I'm pretty sure streaming, it doesn't save. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, that's Ben. I was like, who the what was in my yard? It's Ben. He just got a coffee. He's looking cute. Anyway, I think it'd be cool to like do some work while streaming or whatever. I can kind of show you a little bit more of like what I actually do with my days. So let me know if that would be cool. And if someone knows, please confirm that streaming is indeed, or like that is the difference between streaming and just going live. Anyway, thank you for watching. Leave me a comment so I know who you are and we can connect. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.